decline recorded in January compared to January 2019. Besides the travel restrictions in some key destinations like Dubai, airlines in Nigeria are also faced with low capacity utilization as several operating aircraft are either on the ground awaiting route maintenance or stuck in repair facilities abroad. Royal Dutch Shell, the parent company of the Nigerian subsidiary Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, Nigeria Limited, says it paid a total of about $3.2 billion to the Nigerian government in 2020, according to its latest sustainability report released. The payment is the largest payout from a total $13.1 billion the company remitted to the Nigerian government. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is to propose a $650 billion special drawing right, SDR, to its member countries in the organization's effort to boost their reserve positions. The managing director of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, disclosed during a press briefing at the ongoing virtual IMF World Bank Spring Meeting, which the G20 had given the needed nod for the proposal to be tabled before the members. This will help address the long-term global needs for reserve assets and provide a sustainable liquidity boost to all our members, especially the most vulnerable. The MD, who made a public presentation of the 2021 IMF Global Policy Agenda, tasked central banks across the globe to I'll take that again. The MD, who made a public presentation of the 2021 IMF Global Policy Agenda, tasked central banks across the globe on how to use their monetary mandates to assist the world to take a shot at an early recovery from the effects of COVID-19 on the global economy. Nigeria's precarious food situation could get even worse in the poultry section, as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed the outbreak of avian influenza H5N1 bird flu in Kano, Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and Niger states. Stakeholders fear that unless urgent measures are taken to arrest the spread, many more states may be affected in what poses a serious threat to investment in poultry farming and farming in the country. Leading developmental investment bank DLM Capital Group have announced its plans to expand into Nigeria's multi-dollar fintech sector following its acquisition of Links Microfinance Bank. The license will give DLM Capital Group the mandate to operate small-scale banking services in Nigeria. This will also allow the successive launch of its Star Digital Lending brand. On the foreign scene, Beijing is now home to more billionaires than any other city in the world, according to the latest Forbes annual rich list. The Chinese capital added 33 billionaires last year and now hosts 100, said the business magazine. This narrowly beats New York City, which hosts 99 and has held the top ranking for the last 7 years. China's quick containment of COVID-19, the rise of its technology firms and stock markets helped it gain top spot. Although Beijing now has more billionaires than the Big Apple, the combined net worth of New York City's billionaires remain 80 billion United States dollars, greater than that of the counterparts in Beijing. And that was the business news update on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility, wash your hands frequently with soap and running water, avoid touching your face in high contact surfaces to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Once again, good afternoon. I'm Mel Filson and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned as Body District with Buchira Fwa comes up shortly.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
There's no adjective to qualify the failure of this APC government, a government that came into power when dollar was 170. Annie, I've always liked and followed Asher Frank, but today he wasn't stable. The man, another man, forgetting his name, stole the show. That's him. Me too, I forgot his name. He was...
Annie must announce my name before you go here. Must announce my name.
Where would you rather be? Stay glued to this frequency.
to this frequency.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdel Salam. The House of Representatives has mandated
Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
Fire incidents have become a regular occurrence, with thousands of lives and millions of properties lost every year in this country. Hardly a day passes without news of a fire outbreak in some part of the country, causing fear and panic among the people. Needless to say, we need to remind ourselves of the possibility of an outbreak at any time. This is what is likely to prevent us from being taken by surprise. Always put off appliances when not in use. Do not overload electrical sockets. Fuel your generator before, not when in use. Avoid fixing electrical faults personally when you apparently do not have the skill. Keep the candle on a candle stand.
It takes only a minute for a fire to get out of hand. In case of a fire outbreak, please call the fire service hotline 070-315-221-99. This message is brought to you by your premium talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, Voice of the People.
Hello. I'm actually looking for a place where I can do very good jingles.
Call this number.
What about a place where, like a comfortable place where I can record and produce my programs?
Call this number.
Sorry. This one is actually very important to me. I'm also looking for a good radio station where I can place my adverts. This one is actually very important to me.
This number.
This number.
Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. The voice.
0818 389 2850. 0818 389 2850.
Chief, wetin dey do you like this? Now, since your body hot, you don't even get blister for the side of your mouth. You don't go hospital check yourself.
My sister.
Sorry.
This one pass hospital.
Wetin pass hospital now?
You no go understand.
Na clear signs of malaria be this. Just go make them check your body, make them know wetin dey do you, so they go know how they go take treat and wetin you go take.
My sister, this one pass hospital. Leave on like that. Now me they tell you, leave on like that. No be the first time wey dey happen with this. I know where to go. I know how to handle am. No be clear eye yo. Na village people. Na village people. No be ordinary. You know normal.
Do you think you know all there is to know about your body and how every other thing affects your body, your mindset, your thoughts, your eating pattern, your environment as well? Well, join us on Body District every Thursday by 1 p.m. on Today 95.1 FM. afternoon. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're on to Today95.1 FM, the voice of the people. And my name is Buchi Rafua. The program is Body District, where we talk about health issues, everything related to your health we discuss on this program. And every week we talk about something new. We educate you and inform you about whatever the topic of discussion would be. And you get to also hear some facts and something really unique about a particular something that probably you haven't heard of before. Welcome, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the program. Good afternoon to you. Well, before we head straight up to what we'll be talking, the topic of our discussion for today, would love to share with you some news headlines, some stories rather, making headlines regards the health sector in Nigeria and in the world. Well, starting with this report, the Kogi State government has commenced the administration of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in the state, with priority given to health workers and frontline essential non-health workers. The government on Monday night took delivery of about 16,900 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. And the Kogi State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Saka Haruna, he flagged off the COVID-19 vaccination exercise in Lokoja in collaboration with the Kogi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. And the flag off was followed by the administration of the vaccines on Dr. Abubakar Yakubu. He's the KSPH-CDA Executive Director, who volunteered himself as the first person to take the vaccine. Then followed by the CMD, Kogi Hospital Management Board, Dr. Usman Zakari, and some medical officers. The Kogi CAN Chairman, Bishop John Ibenu, Kogi JNI Chairman, Ambassador Usman Bello, Kogi NMA Chairman Dr. Omar Koji Oyigo, and some journalists also received the doses of the vaccine. And the commissioner called on the people of the state to volunteer themselves to take the AstraZeneca vaccine, saying nobody would be deprived or forced to receive it. In his words, I want to clarify that nobody is exempted or will be deprived from this exercise. Also, nobody will be subjected to forced vaccination exercise in Kogi State, Audu said. Yesterday was the World Health Day, and the global theme announced by the World Health Organization, WHO, is building a fairer and healthier world, which is very apt at this time, given the huge negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the health of the people and the global health system. The pandemic has widened the inequality and inequity in assessing healthcare and medical commodities in different parts of the world. The push for equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines has become intense in recent times, given that over 70% of persons who have been vaccinated are residents in 10 countries. It is imperative, according to the Premium Times, to explain the key words in that particular article they wrote. And in their words, they quoted, fair simply means treating people equally and without favoritism or discrimination. Its synonyms includes words like just, reasonable, equitable, objective, dispassionate, impartial, rational, and unbiased. In Las Eze's word, which his language rather, which is Igbo, it is simply explained by the concept of ebebere, ugobere. Let the hawk perch and let the eagle perch too. The Englishman would say that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. Now, according to WHO, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Some fundamental principles which form the preamble to the WHO Constitution are very critical, and he sort of highlighted 5 of them. Well, that's an article by Laz Eze from the Premium Times. I really wish you would take a look at that one. commemoration of the 2021 World Health Day, some civil society organizations, they are advocating increased investments in the health sector to restore crumbling services for women and children in Nigeria rather. And in a joint statement that was sent to the Premium Times on Tuesday rather, the organization said there is need for governments to invest in equity, enhancing strategies to protect women and their newborns. And on the foreign scene, Britain should be confident that the system to monitor COVID-19 vaccines is working following the change in advice in giving young people the Oxford AstraZeneca jab. Health Secretary Matt Hancock said on Thursday. In his words, people can be reassured that we have the high-class safety system run by our world-class regulator. And then we're totally transparent with all of the side effects, no matter how extremely rare they are, like this ones, he told Sky News. Britain's Vaccine Advisory Committee said on Wednesday that an alternative to the Oxford AstraZeneca's vaccine should be given to under 30s where possible due to vanishing rare side effects of blood clots in the brain. And Hancock said new guidance would not delay Britain's vaccination program because alternatives from the Pfizer and Moderna would be available for the affected group. And just so you know, Britain is aiming to give a first dose of COVID-19 vaccine all over 50s by mid-April and all adults by the end of July. Well, that's it for some of our headlines on the program. We will be going on a short break. As soon as we get back, we'll head straight up to our topic of discussion. And yes, I have a guest here with me. But when we get back, you get to hear who the guest is and what we will be discussing on today. Just stay with us.
Look what he's done to you. It isn't fair. Your light was bright and new, but he didn't care. He took the heart of a little girl and made it grow up too fast. Now words like innocence don't mean a thing. You hear the music play, but you can't sing. And those pictures in your mind keep you locked up inside your past. This is a song for the broken girl, the one pushed aside by the cold, cold world you are. Hear me when I say you're not the worthless they made you feel. There is a love they can never steal away. You don't have to stay the broken girl.
All right, welcome back. You're still on to Body District on your premium talk news sport radio station, Today95.1 FM. And that was a song titled Broken Girl by Matthew West. Wondering why we're saying anything about a broken girl? Well, lots of ladies are broken today because of certain things they have been through in life, and where some persons feel they are in charge of their life and sort of would want to take control of or take possession of some of this. Okay, before we get to that, now their godfather, when it comes to I'm calling it the godfather because it's like sexual violence the issue of rape, the issue of sexual abuse, the issue of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sexual threats, they are all under the little bit on what sexual violence is about, as a godfather that it is.
Okay. That your word is very funny, godfather.
Because it's like the father of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
it's
please.
Like, yes, sexual violence is like the umbrella word. So now when we talk about sexual violence, it entails a lot of things. But basically, what sexual violence means is like any act or an attempt on a person's sexuality without the person's consent. An act performed towards a person's sexuality, or an attempt.
Even just making the attempt, even
Yes.
if you do not do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Towards a person's sexuality. And when we talk about acts or an attempt, especially the attempt part, the attempt can be a comment, it might be an advance, towards the person's sexuality. It's termed sexual violence.
So when you say sexuality, what exactly do you mean?
Anything or any action that is carried out that is focused on the person's how will I break sexuality down now? It's referring to the sexual parts of a person or the sexual organs of the person. At least the external ones, the ones we can see.
Okay.
Yes. So this is what is termed, and this person is not interested. So this is the key word, the interest there. If the person is interested, you get the person's consent. It is okay. It is not sexual violence. But when there's no consent, means the person is not interested in whatever it is you want to do. It means it is
so
a
even if you
violation.
cajole the person towards doing it,
Yes,
it still can be categorized as sexual violence,
Yes.
even if somehow the person gave in at the end of the day.
Yes, because now when we talk about this, we should also put into consideration that there are different modes, like you said, cajole. You can either use blackmail, you can either use force. The one everybody knows about is the use of physical force. So when you say someone has been sexually abused, you're expecting to see, generally people are expecting to see physical bruises and all that. But someone can be intimidated. The person can be threatened. The person can be blackmailed.
How about cajoling someone, like convincing the person?
Yes, coercion, trying to convince the person, make it look good when make it look good, and you're not telling the person everything that is involved. And this is mostly used with children, in the case of children, because they are naive, and so you try to make it look like this thing is very interesting or it's okay for them, or you use a threat. With children, it's either you coerce them or you threaten them. If you don't allow me to do this, you're going to get punished, or you will lose maybe something that is entitled to you, something like that. So it's either a threat or you coerce the person into doing it, make the person to agree. So consent is very, very important when we are talking about sexual violence.
I'm sorry, just to cut in here, you talked about cajoling. Coercion.
Yes.
For physical force. But generally, the key word for sexual violence is an attempt, an act towards one's sexuality without their consent.
Yeah.
Now, your consent can be gotten in different ways. Is either you are being forced into consenting, or you're being convinced, sort of cajoled into.
When there is an external force influencing
your
decision, it is not termed that you gave consent. You gave consent, but it is not consent out of a free will.
So it means that if initially you say no, I don't want to, without any external influence, then that is what your true consent is.
That is what your true consent is.
But what if I sort of convince you that, nah, don't worry, it's just to touch your breast. Your breast is really fine. It's beautiful. Let me just feel it. And then you're like, okay, no problem. That is cajoling, and that is sexual violence.
Yes, that's sexual violence.
Even if the consent came in afterwards.
Yeah, or maybe you tell the person, okay, you see, if you don't allow me to do this, you're not going to get this, or you won't get the job, or your school fees won't get paid, or I won't give you the money.
That's
kind of
like
thing.
being threatened.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm actually paying more attention to the cajoling one, because most persons feel that I just told her, I gave her sweet words, I gave her sweet mouth, and then she gave in, or I gave him sweet mouth and he gave in, and they do not see that as sexual violence. So that is also sexual. You're violating them
it's
sexually.
sexual violence. It's
Okay.
sexual violence.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we've talked about consent, which is very, very important. Now we're talking about different forms of sexual violence. So, like you said, sexual violence is a grandfather. Oh, godfather. Okay, and I'm using grandfather. And then we have many children. So we have sexual abuse, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So sexual abuse is a form of sexual violence, but it's a term used when it involves a child or someone who, for a reason, maybe because the person is mentally challenged or physically challenged, or for whatever reason cannot give consent, because there are people who cannot give consent because they are mentally challenged, or at that point in time they are not in the right use of their mind. So they cannot give consent. Children also below 18 cannot give consent. So in that case, it is termed sexual abuse. Now, in the case of children, particularly when there's sexual abuse, especially when there's rape, we now say the child has been defiled. But that's when it's rape, which we'll get soon. Which we'll get soon. Now, we also have sexual assault. Now, sexual assault, is when it has to do with physical force and involves most times penetration, which is rape. So you see, maybe in a case where someone has been forced to have sex, someone has been forced to have sex, which is rape, and there's also been physical involvement of physical injuries and all that. So we use the term sexual assault. So in most times, in cases of sexual assault, sometimes you might see bruises, but not in every time, not in every case, because it's not in every case that there's a physical assault. Particularly, it can be emotional assault too. Yeah. So you also have sexual harassment or threats. So now this is the case where you have very subtle, subtle moves, where someone does something and you're not really sure. And I'll take a typical example. Sometimes people give you a kind of look. Someone looks at you, and we use the word dressing down. This person is looking at you, but you know that this person is paying unnecessary and undue attention to your private area, maybe staring at your breasts anytime person is looking at you, always passing comments about your breast or your bum, like, oh, your flat chest, or oh, I like this, it depends on the person and the situation involved. For someone else, the person might not mind, but for another person, this might be embarrassing and it might make the person uncomfortable. So it is about the person, and if the person is okay with it. If the person is not okay with it, it is it's a violation of a person's sexuality, and it is termed as it's a form of sexual violence. So these are the different forms of sexual violence. So in all, sexual harassment is more subtle, but then it's important to know that, especially in the case of minors, most times it starts from sexual harassment. Most of these things are really subtle, little things, that might draw your attention to know. Like we tell children, when you see signs like this, adults paying unnecessary attention to your privates and all that, or making undue comments, you should avoid this kind of person, because the person might have an ulterior motive towards you.
All right, we'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. You're still on to Body District on Today 95.1 FM. Just stay with us.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Today's news in 60. In 60.
Lecturers at the Ibadan Polytechnic have shown the nationwide industrial action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics. The union declared an indefinite strike to demand implementation of a new salary scheme of polytechnic lecturers. The University of Lagos has commenced the 2019-2020 exams cancelled in the wake of lockdown occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. However, students are protesting the one-week time frame scheduled for the examination, calling on the management to give more time. As the pioneer set of Nextford University Nigerian Master of Business Administration MBA graduated in Lagos, former Education Minister Mrs. Obiageli Ezekwesili urged them not to trade their values. On the foreign scene, United Kingdom Education Secretary Gavin Williamson has said secondary school pupils in England must keep wearing face masks in classes.
Today's news in 60. In 60.
Chief, wetin dey do you like this? Now, since your body hot, you don't even get blister for the side of your mouth. You don't go hospital check yourself.
My sister.
Sorry.
This one pass hospital.
Wetin pass hospital now?
You no go understand.
Na clear signs of malaria be this. Just go make them check your body, make them know wetin dey do you, so they go know how they go take treat and wetin you go take.
My sister, this one pass hospital. Leave am like that. Now me they tell you, leave am like that. No be the first time wey dey happen with this. I know where to go. I know how to handle am. No be clear eye yo. Na village people. Na village people. No be ordinary. You know normal.
Do you think you know all there is to know about your body and how every other thing affects your body? Your mindset, your thoughts, your eating pattern, your environment as well. Well, join us on Body District every Thursday by 1 p.m. on Today 95.1 FM.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. You're still on to Body District on Today 95.1 FM. We're out of time already, and even if we just barely started. Okay, before I went on that break, by the way, we have Mrs. Uri Inope. She's a health promoter from Doctors Without Borders, and I am Buchira Fua, and we've been talking about sexual violence and different forms of sexual violence, but we might pay a little bit of more attention to rape itself. But in case you missed out, she explained sexual violence, and the key words she picked out of sexual violence situations are sexual attempt and act towards one's sexuality without consent, right?
Yeah.
Those are the key words. Once you see these things I made mention of in a particular situation, just know that you are being sexually violated. And it comes in different forms. She explained that sexual abuse is majorly carried out by people. Carried out on people that cannot give their consent, either by on children or people that are sort of physically impaired or have
mental challenges
that cannot say, okay, yes, do it in their sane mind, in an informed mind.
Yes.
And she also explained sexual assault. Now, sexual assault, you talked about it as it's more carried out on adults. And in cases of sexual assault, you get to see penetration, which rape comes in, or you also get to see physical force. All right. This is like a recap. We're doing a recap on everything she explained earlier. And then for sexual harassment is, you see it in cases where you get some kind of subtle, it's more subtle compared to the others, where they kindly say, your back is really very fine, because it sounds good, but they're actually harassing you sexually, or when they hug you and they hug you really tight, and then you notice that somehow
press on your breast.
pressing your breast to their
And the person
chest.
knows you're not comfortable with it and you don't like it.
So that is sexual harassment. Or they're going to hug you and somehow they just use their hand to touch your buttocks, forming like they are hugging you and holding your back.
And
but
it
they
was
are
a mistake.
Sort of, yes, like a mistake. Oh, that's a sexual harassment.
Yeah.
I hope you are learning right now. But earlier we talked about cajoling, and when we went on that break, you said cajoling can be categorized under sexual coercion.
Yeah, we talked about sexual coercion. This is a situation where, because you talked about consent,
Yes.
what if someone refuses and after you tell the person something
nice,
something
sweet.
nice, or you tell the person, give the person options. It's not always something nice and something sweet. Sometimes you're giving this person options that they have to choose from. Example, if you don't have sex with me, you lose your job. Or if you don't have sex with me, you don't get the money. Or you don't get this, you don't get that. So you're making this person make a choice. And when they have to choose and they're in a fix, so they don't have any other option than to accept your advances. So you now say, we don't call that, in fact, we don't call that consent, because if these options were not there, the
Your
person
stand
would have been a no.
So what if the person buys you gifts, like he's like, let's get down, and you're like, no, I don't want to, and then the person starts pumping you with lots of gifts, and with all the gifts you're like, okay, no problem, let's get down. Would you call that?
So now, it depends on the situation and the scenario, but basically if it has to do with a child, it's a no. If it has to do with anybody below 18, it's a no, because children cannot give consent for sex.
So how about an adult that would on a normal day say no? But
So now,
because of
in the
gifts
case
and
of an
everything-
adult, now it depends. Depends on the person, it depends on the scenario, depends on the situation. If this person feels like there's no pressure on him or her, to give into this, and they're doing it because they want to do it, it's okay. But if there's any form of pressure, whatever, then it's a form of sexual violence.
All right, now let's head straight up to rape. I guess we've talked a lot on the different forms of sexual violence. Now, exactly what is rape?
Okay, so simply put, rape, in the case of rape is a situation where there's a penetration of either the anus, the mouth, or the vagina of a person with any object or the penis without the person's consent.
I told you we're going to be learning some new things, whether you're using an organ of your body to penetrate or you're using an object. It's called rape.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the vagina.
No.
If you penetrate someone with an object or an organ in your body from the anus and the mouth, why would you call the one from the mouth rape?
Yeah, because it has to do with, it's a sexual act. So it is called rape.
So if the guy's penis can actually penetrate your nose and he puts his penis in your nose, that is also rape?
Well, we can say maybe that's also a form of sexual assault. But I don't know technically. I can't say for the technicalities now, the words. But we know that when it comes to deriving sexual pleasure, it's either through the anus, the mouth, or the vagina. So these are the three ways or three forms where people derive sexual pleasure. I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't know if you've heard
People
of
that
anyone
derive from
who
nose.
put his
We have
penis
people
in
with
another
crazy
person's
fetishes.
ear or nose or something like that. Yeah. So.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that one with us. I would love to ask, we're already out of time. I don't know, time is not just our friend on this program. Now, who are those that are more vulnerable or at risk when it comes to rape? And why would you categorize them as the most vulnerable ones?
Okay, so basically in our own context, because these things are context specific. In our own context, currently, we have more children and women, that's females, who are most vulnerable. This doesn't mean that men cannot also be victims of rape.
Okay.
It just means that they are the ones who are most at risk because of different social and economic reasons. Example for the children, when you talk about coercion, they're the ones who fall in this category. They're the ones who are mostly coerced there because they do not have the capacity to provide for themselves. They don't have the capacity to protect themselves, and to make informed decisions. So, and then it's the people who are around them who are supposed to protect them that also abuse them. So, in cases like this, they are most vulnerable. And unfortunately, most times when it happens, they can't speak up because either they are afraid, or in some cases they don't even have insight, especially for children below 5. They don't have insight into what has happened, so they don't even know that this thing is not right and shouldn't be done to them, And then when a child grows up in that kind of situation, they grow up to think it is normal. It's like an everyday thing, So that's why children are vulnerable. Then for women, in our context, women are vulnerable because of mostly, economic and social reasons. Because in our context, most women fall into this category for economic reasons, because sometimes they even depend on the perpetrator for one thing or the other. Just like I said, okay, you lose your job, or you lose this, you lose that, and the way you don't have any choice, you remain in that situation. And so this is one of the reasons why women are more vulnerable. And also we understand that in our context, men are like have the upper hand in our society, and so it's even also difficult for women to speak out when this kind of thing has happened, because there's also the fear of who is going to listen? Will it be taken seriously? Remember also that the people who, let's say in a community happens, the people who will be the judges of the cases are men, and so when you weigh your options, you decide to keep quiet.
And keep going.
And you keep going. And then the perpetrators also see this, and it also boosts their morale to continue to do this. And so this is one of the reasons why we also have an increase in spread of...
Is there an age range of those that because you said in your context it's mostly happens to children and women, is there an age range for those that are most vulnerable? For children, could it be newborns, or maybe from age 10 to age 50, those that are most vulnerable, or just women and children generally?
Well, for children, children mostly from 15 years below are a lot more vulnerable. Where we'll say maybe they're a lot more vulnerable. It might not be that they are the most vulnerable, really. It might just be that maybe they are still the ones who are able to get the support to even come to the clinic. And then it's also possible that the ones who are above that age have attained a level of independence, and it's also possible that they've gotten used to it and they feel it's normal, and so they will not speak up when it has happened.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, especially the one with children. I saw a video one time where a full-grown adult was actually telling the little girl that, put it in your mouth, it's lollipop.
Yeah.
And she was actually, you've seen that video?
No, I haven't seen the video, but yes, there are cases like that. That's why we also add them out to when we talk about penetration. Yes. So, and even for children, so you can imagine this kind of scenario. It's not out of place. It happens, and when the child doesn't have insights, the child doesn't even know that what's happening is wrong, and they might not tell anybody.
Yes.
So it's really difficult to tell.
What predisposes one to situations like this, especially rape?
Okay, so there are different situations, but one of the things is the environment, the family environment. If the family has, will I say, or is characterized with violence, you have a situation where there's always quarreling and issues like that in the home. The family is not at peace. For children, it's a predisposing factor, in the sense that there's also a tendency of, especially if there's a drunken dad at home who comes home, there's a tendency that he might abuse one of the children or even the partner or something like that. Drugs also predispose people to situations like this. The use of drugs predispose people to situations like this. Contexts where, like, will I say, contexts where there's violence or there's wars, things like that. Yeah, so if you're living in an area where with a high rate of violence compared to an area where there's a low rate of violence, so the persons who are living in areas where there are high rate of violence are more predisposed to being sexually abused. And then you also have economic factors too, like I mentioned earlier. So in a situation where you need favors, especially when you don't have a choice, you need a job, you need money to feed, you need money to pay school fees, you need money for, especially for basic things, and you can't get it, or the person who is going to be providing this is asking for sex. In most cases, you will see this as a lesser evil. You rather choose to have food on your table than go hungry. So, and this is also the reason why you have more women who are victims of sexual violence because of the economic situation. And association with sexually aggressive and hypermasculine pairs, especially in teenagers or young adults, especially being around pairs who use drugs and all that, predispose people, especially young ones, to cases of sexual violence. But it's important for us to also note that there's no one thing that you can say that if you do this or if you don't do this, you won't get sexually abused. Because then again, it can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere, including men, because the men are also at risk of being sexually abused. So sexual abuse, especially rape, can happen to anybody. So it's important for us to take note of this. But, the most important thing to note is that in case it happens, you need to speak up, because your health is very important. We know when we talk about rape, people always think first about going to the police and all that. But you see, your health is very, very important, because this person stands the chance of getting infected with HIV and other sexually transmitted infections.
Yeah.
So it's important to speak up, get to a health facility, especially somewhere like our clinic at Orobum Health Center, Obunabali, where you can get proper medication, especially the treatment for HIV prevention, which will be given within 72 hours of the exposure to the rape incident to prevent HIV infection. So at the receipt of this treatment, at least we know that, okay, the risk or the chances of this person getting infected with HIV is reduced, and then other treatments also follow. So it's important to get help. It's important to speak up. But we know people don't like to talk about things like this. But, if you don't want to talk to anybody, you don't want to talk to your friends, you don't want to talk to your parents, you can always call our line, that's Doctors Without Borders, and talk to somebody who will help you.
All right.
And link you up.
We will be sharing that line with you shortly before we wrap up the program. But let me quickly put up the text message portal and the WhatsApp portal. If you have any question whatsoever or contribution, please send it to the number 0701 933 9962. We won't be able to take calls on the program for the sake of time. So the number is 0701 933 9962. Whatsoever you want to ask or contribute, please send it via text message or a WhatsApp message. All right, now moving on. There are a lot of misconceptions about rape itself, and one of those are, like you explained, it's the mouth. I'm not raping her. It's the anus. I'm not raping her. I just put it in her mouth, or I just used
a finger.
I just fingered her. I just put my fingers in her mouth,
or stick, or candle, or something.
Exactly. So, do you mind sharing with us most of those misconceptions?
Yeah. So you've mentioned one very important one, like when you talk about penetration. So the typical one we know is that the penis is penetrating the vagina, so that's what we call rape. So now we've clarified that. Then we also have this other misconception that it's only strangers that rape. So we at the back of our mind,
husband and wife,
not even just husband and wife, we have a lot of people who are sexually abused by people who they call close friends, people who they trust. In reality, when you talk about rape, it's a breach of trust.
Yes.
Someone you trusted, or you felt that, okay, you're okay with this person, and person took advantage of that. So it helps us to keep at the back of our mind that when you're relating with people, be careful of the advances and, the way they act towards you. And another important one is that the victim is always to be blamed, or the victim is to be blamed. So that's why I said there's nothing you can say. You can't really make any reference to this and say, if you do this, you will not be raped. If you do this, you can only try to protect yourself, and
stay away from certain situations.
Certain situations,
understand signs.
Yes, but even at that, you can't always predict. So you can't blame anybody that, it's their fault it happened to them.
All right, let me just ask you this one straight up. If the husband forcefully penetrates his wife, can that be termed as rape?
Yes.
It can be termed
if it was
as
done
rape.
without her consent.
But I guess our constitution doesn't see that as rape. But logically looking at it, it's rape because her consent wasn't there. You just forced it because you feel you own her or she's yours.
Yeah. So,
what if your ex sort of, you meet up and then somehow he just gets in, and you know very well that you don't want to? Can that be tagged as rape as well? Because he's your ex, very familiar, like you said.
Well, if we can say it can happen between
husband
and wife, then why would
Definitely.
it? Yeah. So the thing is, we call that either spousal rape or a rape in case of partners, mutual partners. So it can happen between two people who are already engaged in sex prior to that time. It all depends on the situation, like I said, and how this person feels about it. At the end of the day, how we know whether it is rape or not is how this person on the receiving end feels about it. It's not how a third party.
So if let's say initially I'm enjoying it, and then at the end of the day I don't enjoy it and I start feeling somehow about it, I can come out and say he raped me?
No.
Okay.
You can't be enjoying it and at the end of the day you just turn off.
You had high hopes and then somehow it wasn't as much as
you see, when we talk about sexual violence, it's not as easy as people talk about. It's not as easy as when you talk about rape, it's not that easy. Really, people, especially in our context here, we are still in Africa. People don't talk about rape like that. It's even difficult for someone to talk about rape in the first place. Before someone comes out to say I've been raped, the person really felt violated. When you feel dirty, when you feel someone has abused you, when you feel less of yourself, someone has made you feel like you don't own yourself. Yes, that is what the feeling is like. It's not like you were doing something you liked and all of a sudden you just felt turned off. No, that's not the feeling. So it's maybe a case of, okay, we agreed to do something, but then you started doing something that I never imagined, or something that I didn't want, and I've expressed it, and that made me feel disgusted.
If I would paint an example, there is a penetration from the vagina and I'm cool with that, and all of a sudden you're going through the anus or the mouth. Now that is rape. He's raping you.
Beautiful.
But if it sticks to the vagina,
Beautiful.
then it is not rape. But
Yes.
if it goes behind,
Yes.
it's rape. This thing is complicated and it's somehow actually.
Yes, but
Because-
it's somehow.
you're already enjoying, or you
No.
consented to the
It's
vagina.
it's not complicated. That is why we talk about consent. What did we consent with? This thing is something that is
Would you
mutual.
have to start signing something, like sign an agreement? I consented to the vagina,
So
and I didn't consent to the anus.
If you consented, let's say you didn't consent to anything. Let's assume, we are already partners, even in a marriage situation, and you start on with vaginal penetration and this person doesn't complain, and you want to go through the anal penetration and this person says, no, I'm not comfortable with this, it is a sign that you should stop. And let's say you cajole the person and say, okay, don't worry, calm down, it's going to be fine. And then after a while you find out that this person is not fine, the person is crying, the person is in pains. Is that not a sign that you should stop? Or is that what's the fun there now?
All right.
So you get it. It's simple. It's something that is happening between two people. So both of them have to be okay with what's happening. In a case where one person is not okay with what's happening, it's not good. So something is wrong. And then both of you need to stop and find out what the problem is.
All right. Okay. Oh, well, we don't have... Quickly call out the number, because there's a whole lot we're supposed to talk regards to this. We're supposed to touch on some consequences of such misconceptions people have, but let's give out the number because that's really important for some persons listening that need help.
Okay, so in case of rape, our clinic is at Orogum Health Center, Ubunabali by Garrison Bus Stop, the health center at Ubunabali. And to reach us, you can reach us on this MTN line 090 555 455. I'll take it again 090 555 455. The second number is a glow line, and it's 070 588 90060. 070 588 90060.
All right, thank you very much, Uri, for
You're
coming.
welcome.
Uri Nope is a health promoter from Doctors Without the Border, and this has been the Body District on Today 95.1 FM. We'll be back here next week, Thursday, to talk about something you should know about your health and something you should pay attention to. You'd also learn and get educated on certain things.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Good afternoon. Here is the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Wealth Wilson. Gunmen have again attacked Mbiri Divisional Police Headquarters in Mbiatoli local government area of Imo State. About 2 police officers were injured and another reportedly kidnapped. Spokesperson of the Imo State Police Command, Orlando Ikeoku, who confirmed the incident, said the attackers were resisted by the officers on duty. Ikeoku said one of the officers is still missing, while 2 are injured and receiving treatment at a nearby hospital. He also confirmed that some suspects in the police custody were freed. Meanwhile, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has said the attack on security facility in the state is aimed at destabilizing his government and that of President Muhammadu Buhari. Uzodinma stated this when he appeared on a live television interview 3 days after gunmen stormed the Nigerian Correctional Services and the police headquarters in Imo State, freeing some prison inmates. He explained that security agencies have gathered intelligence on the sponsors of the hoodlums and their planning leading to the attack on government facilities. A former assistant director with the Department of State Services, Dennis Amakari, has revealed that the DSS alerted the Nigeria Police Force and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma at least 3 times before Monday's attack in the state. The former DSS official on a live television program alleged that the police and the governor failed to act on the intelligence by the DSS. Amakari stated that there was enough actionable intelligence, saying some people are just too lazy to do their jobs. Gunmen on Monday attacked the Owerri Correctional Center and freed over 1,800 inmates and also razed the Imo State Police Command headquarters in Owerri. The National Emergency Management Agency has commenced the mapping of communities that are vulnerable to the impending devastating floods expected this year. This was disclosed by the Director General of NEMA, Mohammed, at the experts' technical meeting of stakeholders to analyze the 2021 seasonal climate prediction. Mohammed said the mapping of vulnerable communities for emergency response was based on the 2021 seasonal climate prediction and the recent flood warning by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. NISA said on March 24, 2021, advised the 3 tiers of government and citizens across the country to prepare against the impending devastating floods in 2021. Director General of NISA, Clemens Nze, who gave the advice in Abuja, said this was because Nigeria was at the receiving end of a disastrous flood among the 9 countries of the River Niger Basin. The Director General of NEMA assured participants at the meeting that NEMA would ensure mechanisms that would allow stakeholders at the various levels of government and community levels to prepare adequately in order to mitigate and respond to anticipated climate risk and secondary hazards. On the foreign scene, US President Joe Biden is to target homemade ghost guns as part of a new set of measures to tackle gun violence. Ghost guns have no serial numbers, making them difficult to trace. They can be bought by minors and people who would not pass background checks. Biden will enact the measures through an executive order. The move comes after high-profile mass shootings last month. A total of 18 people died in 2 mass shootings, one in Boulder, Colorado, and the other in Atlanta, Georgia. The executive order will include measures on the use of stabilizing braces and community violence prevention. And that was the news update on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility, wash your hands frequently with soap and running water, avoid touching your face on high contact surfaces to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Once again, good afternoon. I am Will Wilson and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. Today's hustle comes up shortly.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
This president's failed.
It's about the future of this country.
We're going to take it back. We're going to take it back.
You asked us to vote you into that position so you can bring about that
solution.
So when you vote me, then you sleep.
Let me see if I can take another phone call. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
What makes a policeman to be able to feed is the gun he's holding. They use their gun to extort money from people.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
No longer news that we are truly the voice of the people.
Am I not a slave in Nigeria?
I refuse if you are. If
you're a
you
slave. Let's not get to that now. So the Nigerian Rob is philosophizing.
You spot the difference now? I am a proud Nigerian. I have been placed here by God for a time such as this.
At my back, I ain't coming back.
The degradation, challenges, and problems faced by Nigeria are the perfect backdrop for me to develop and utilize my God-given potential.
I will not complain. I will not criticize. Rather, I will use my skills, gifts, relationships,
and experience to find long-lasting and revolutionary solutions to the many challenges confronting Nigeria.
Nigeria will rise again.
Because I am here, I will leave this nation
a better place than I met it. I will work to make Nigeria a praise on the earth.
I will work to make Nigeria a praise on the earth. So help me God.
Let me tell you how I got this far.
This message is brought to you by Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
This president's failed.
It's about the future of this country.
We're going to take it back. We're going to take it back.
You asked us to vote you into that position so you can bring about that
Solution.
So when you vote me, then you sleep.
Let me see if I can take another phone call. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
What makes a policeman to be able to feed is the gun he's holding. They use their gun to extort money from people.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
No longer news that we are truly the voice of the people.
Am I not a slave in Nigeria?
I refuse if you are. If you say
You're
you're
a slave. Let's not get to that now. So the Nigerian Rap is philosophizing.
You spot the difference now?
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
I mean, it's great if it's already in the curriculum.
My dad is happy.
Hey, stop flipping with that dial. Be faithful.
Remember, you can send your thoughts to 070-1933-9962.
Be faithful to 95.1 Today FM. This is today's hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
You
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double leverage. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
This is today's hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
You
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double leverage. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
FM, voice of the people.
And we're back.
His Majesty, His Majesty King Eramila Ikuru, wish to state the main cause of my detention or incarceration for the past 5 weeks. The main issue is that we, the chiefs, we are unable to make peace in Andoni among the rival youth groups. The youths of Andoni are very unhappy with the chiefs and elders and the politicians for this misdemeanor. And also, the inability of the elders above mentioned for providing employment for youth. And whereas we have oil wells in Andoni being operated by companies just like Amni, Totafina Elf, Green Energy International, and Lake Oil and Gas Joint Venture, and so on. It is also the desire of Andoni youths that government amenities should be distributed equally to all the sections of Andoni LGA without bias. The youths are also insisting on the avoidance of indiscriminate arrest of Andoni youths and the unfortunate killings by government and chiefs of Andoni. The youths are saying with a sense of urgency that the chiefs should handle the matter with dispatch. Hence, there will be killings, or there will be killing of chiefs and politicians in Andoni local government area.
All right, you all have heard what he has said. He's not saying it for himself alone, but he's saying it on behalf of the chiefs and kings in Andoni local government area.
Right, a beautiful afternoon to you. Welcome to today's hustle. The voice you listened to was a video released. It's on the Punch, it's on Ripples, it's on Twitter. Video of a kidnapped ruler of Ikuru town with the abductors really now demands. I'm sure you got to pick on those demands and you got to hear what they demanded and, of course, what they talked about. At some point, I'll play it again for us to get to listen to those demands and know where to come from. I mean, we are seeing pockets of insecurity here and there. Earlier today in Imo State, more issues coming up. Gunmen exchanging fire in Abia State. It looks like here and there things are beginning to pockets of issues there, here and there. And as much as we would like to just move on from talking insecurity, but it seems like it's right in our face and it's just not going away. Wisdom Obina is my name, and I do have with me Wealth.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Great to be here.
All right. And together we'll definitely be looking at this and the demands, basically, where they're coming from. At least these ones aren't asking for money directly. We're hearing other things also. It's not the first time a monarch is being kidnapped in this state. We've seen different names being kidnapped in different places, including same areas now, Andoni, Okrika, and what have you. And we are beginning to wonder if it's now part of our everyday life that we get to hear things like this.
All right. So, Wisdom, every time we talk about insecurity, we always have one or two things to say about the persons who are agitating, especially the ones who are perpetrating the evil. You go to the north and you find perpetrators of banditry and kidnapping tell you that why they do so is because they expect that the government to deliver on the dividend of democracy to them, and that's why they encourage That's why they engage in such activities. Now, you go to the southeast and you find a good number of them tell you that why they're doing this is because, of course, they want to ensure that their region enjoys the dividend and stop being marginalized by the activities of the country and the political sphere of the country as well. And then you also come to the south and people tell you that the reason why they are agitating and, indulging in all of these vices is because they expect that, understanding that the bulk of the resources that keeps the country going comes from this particular region. So therefore, they expect some sort of compensation from the government in terms of development and growth within the region and within the area. So every single agitator and every single person who is involved in all of these social vices, one way or the other, always link their activities to the fact that they do not have enough coming from the government. But then, the very important question, which of course I would pick up from this, is that if we continue to indulge and allow people to engage in all of these social vices, only for them to come out and explain that they have been one way or another marginalized or not been treated fairly by the government of the day or the administration or the political class of the country, isn't it something to be worried about? Is this not gradually going to degenerate to a point where everybody begins to turn to picking up arms just so they can express their grievances on the activities of government and the political class in the country? I mean, yesterday we were talking about the situation of what happened in the southeast, Imo State, Enugu State, Anambra State. And some persons say that why they're doing so is because they feel like the government aren't listening to the youth. The youths are unemployed, so therefore they have to pick up these vices and, get the government's attention. And then you're asking yourself, if every youth in the country picks up arms, decides to toe the line of violence, would we not have a country in a state of disarray, anarchy everywhere? Because everybody is aggrieved at some point or another. We all have one or two things that go on in the country that we do not enjoy or encourage or appreciate coming from the political class or even from the government of the day. So all of these demands and trying to justify the demands that these agitators are putting forward, is it not further going to cause more damage to the society than we already look at it as?
All right, but you also have to consider demands are made every day. I mean, but this looks a little bit different, and maybe because they're saying the main issue. Let me quote that video in case you're listening and maybe you didn't make sense. Like I said, I'll play it on again, but let me say it again. I mean, the quotes now. I, His Majesty Aaron Mila Ikuru, wish to state the main cause of my detention or incarceration for the past few weeks. The main issue is that we, the chiefs, are unable to make peace in Andonia amongst the rival youth groups. The youths of Andonia are very unhappy with the chiefs, elders, and politicians, and also the inability of the elders to provide employment for the youths. The youth are also insisting stoppage of indiscriminate arrest of Andoni youths and the unfortunate killings by government and chiefs of Andoni. By the way, you want to see that video, please go to Punch newspaper, Punch Online. You can go to their Twitter handle. You'll also find that video released earlier today by the said kidnappers now.
Wisdom, you did mention something that their demands are quite different, but then listening to them, you would find that it is pretty much the same thing. Now, here's the thing. If everybody in the country comes out to say that, yes, one way or the other, our monarchs or even traditional rulers or our local government, state government and federal government have not been able to deliver the dividend of democracy to us, we would have a country where everybody is agitating, isn't it? And that's pretty much the same thing that is giving room to all of these agitations here, there, and everywhere that we see, and not having tangible solutions, because now you're trying to fight the agitators from all over down there in the north, and somebody somewhere is saying that they're doing this because the government haven't done well or delivered well to the people, and then somebody would support it because, of course, these people, in quote, are fighting for what they think belongs to them. You come to the south, the same thing happened with the militants, and you want to believe that all of these things give room for more violence and criminality in society, which of course would dent all of the effort of whether the security agencies or even the government to control the spate of insecurity in our country. So are we going to continue to give room for all of these agitators to have a certain demand or have a certain excuse to which they will take up arms and be violent, kidnap and even kill, maim people, fight investors and fight the government because they feel that the government haven't done enough? Wouldn't this give room or breed more space for more persons to take up arms and cause it would turn to a state of disarray in the country, in the states where all of these things are encouraged or even allowed. That's the more reason why every time when somebody calls in and says that we shouldn't compare what's happening in the north and the agitations of what happened here in the south, it makes no sense in my head, because in the end of the day, there are other ways that you can table your demands. The youths are not employed. Do you have to kidnap? Do you have to, be criminal first before the government starts to prefer solution or give you employment? Since we started agitating using violence, how much change and development has it dragged to our region and even the country as a whole? Is a question we have to ask ourselves.
All right. So while we're trying to still make sense of what is going on in Rivers State, and of course there are reasons also, we're having pockets of similar situations in other parts of the country. And of course, close by, when you say other parts, it looks like you're talking about the western part of the country or even maybe the north. Now, one happened yesterday. An Imo monarch and his chiefs who went or attended a traditional wedding were taken wholesale. That's everybody packed together on Wednesday night after gunmen had kidnapped the traditional of Umweze Nguru in Abombise local government area of the state, Eze Charles Irebu, and his cabinet chiefs of the kingdom who accompanied the Royal Majesty to a public function. So they were all picked together. Like I said, the respected monarch, who by the way is the owner and chief executive officer of All States Mass Transit, and his cabinet chiefs after they attended a wedding in Mbano, similar to what we're seeing in Rivers State in the last 3 to 4, 5, 6 weeks. Mostly what they've done is kidnap.
I mean, just today, if you check, if you listen to the 12 o'clock news, you would have seen that the Rivers State Police Command had confirmed the kidnap of a chairman of a Krika local government area of here in Rivers State, Philemon Higoli. And then you're wondering what is really going on. A lot of people have already started coming up with their theories and conspiracies as to all of this building up to the tension of what will happen in 2023. Remember when we talked about the fact that a lot is bound to change and some differences will definitely spring up here, there, and everywhere because of the seeming demands of change and the refuter of that particular change. So all of this may not be unconnected, right? So if this is the situation, what do we do at this dire point? By next year, we're looking at deep political campaigning and strategies already kicking off. I mean, this year it's already kicking off. Some people have already started preparing the foundation or the background of how they want to play out that politics come 2023. So you want to wonder, is this how we're going to continue till 2023? And then before you know it, it becomes an election where a lot of things will be disrupted, or fear will be instilled into the minds of too many people. Too many criminals are out on the loose. Not just in the southeast. I mean, you go to the southwest, you go to the north, and then you come down to the south.
Are you also looking at it from this angle? Because most times, in the past, when we used to have kidnappers doing their thing and asking for ransom and what have you, we all call them criminals. And of course, even though this would definitely be on that criminality, but it seems like this is beginning to gain a different direction. As much as it's a criminal act, evil in its entirety, and we totally condemn it, but they are strategically targeting leaders. And we're getting demands that are not just, you're going to give us 10 million naira, you're going to give us 5 million naira, as the case may be. It looks like maybe some set of, I wouldn't say the youths, are beginning to take a different angle and a different line, maybe to that demand they've made in the past. Let's not forget, the NSAS protest, like many other Nigerians, I feel it was just an umbrella for all the other issues, the pains of the youth, and of course the Nigerian people, and all that, all tied under the same umbrella of the special anti-robbery squad and what have you. Now we're getting them say, okay, we're not kidnapping you to give us 10 million naira. We're not kidnapping you to give us 1 million naira. We're kidnapping you to send a message to the others, because like in this particular case, I'll play that audio again. At the end of one of the kidnappers who was behind him, I mean, who sounded quite educated, said something like, this is just an example. If you guys don't change, we're going to make sure he said they're going to kill the monarchs and what have you. So are we seeing a case where the narrative is beginning to change? Youths are not just getting tired of the system because they are not getting some crumbs from the table. They're getting tired of the system because generally, things are not actually working. And it looks like those who are up there do not even care about those who are down there.
How do you now express that tiredness? Do you go about becoming the problem that you're trying to solve? I mean, it makes no sense. That's why when somebody comes out and say that if youth from the Niger Delta are agitating, we should understand because they're agitating because somebody is drilling their resources and not allowing them enjoy, the benefits of that resource. It doesn't make any sense. That's not how you fight for your right or you fight for what rightly belongs to you. If not, everybody in the country is entitled to fighting for what belongs to them. I am not happy with the way my state is, or neither am I happy with the way that the Nigerians as a country is. But you would not find me going about with guns and wanting to kidnap any public office holder that I see. There are other ways to seek accountability from public office holders in the country. And if we continue to encourage this trend, it is definitely going to turn out to be a ticking time bomb. It's already a ticking time bomb, which of course is gradually exploding. So I really don't know. I really do not understand. I don't give in to all of these demands because there are better ways that you can come in as a group or activist to fight for your demands as indigenes or citizens of a particular area. I mean, we see it happen in every other place in the world. Must we turn to violence? So you remember when some people were saying that why should we negotiate with the bandits and kidnappers over there in the north? Now, when you talk about the agitation in the south, somebody somewhere is telling you that the government is not listening to them, so therefore their demands are valid. It's pretty much like we are the ones encouraging our own downfall, and we're headed for the rocks.
Talking about the right way to go about it, what happens when you write all the petitions, you write all the letters, they send in different bodies, and are we, because while we're discouraging them from towing this line, we must find another system or a better method.
What are we looking
by
for?
Which they can actually express their maybe discontent with what is going on.
If you ask this youth in simple terms, right, what are you looking for? What I would use to describe is that they demand political correctness from the people in public offices, isn't it? If that's what you demand, then you don't go about carrying guns to demand political correctness, because where's the correctness in your demand in the first place, right? So the problem here is, have we really encouraged these youths to think that because one way or another the government have been lagging behind in delivering the dividend of democracy to them, that they have the right to go about disrupting normal day-to-day activities of people within their vicinity, which of course they will indirectly and directly affect as well?
Well, we're talking for development, and I'm sure, well, you'd really find other ways they would express, because apparently and we would also get to hear from you, because this is definitely not the path to tow, to get your, in quotes, to express how displeased you are with everything going on. There are better ways to go about it. But what are the better ways? Because it seems petitions are not working. I mean, I know of a particular community around us here in Rivers, a local government just close to Obiakpo, where they've been trying to call the governor to come probably help them fix a particular road. And they believe their brothers in the Senate and House of Reps and what have you are not really saying anything. So what other better way do you think we can actually tow? Because this is definitely not the path to make sense. What other path would be nice? We'll go for a break. Once we return, we'll get to hear or play that video one more time. And then we come back, get some of our thoughts together. And of course, we get to hear from you. This is Today's Hustle.
Oh yes, this year's Hajj experience will remain unforgettable in the minds of those who make the trip with You Fit Fly and Baka Travels. Alhaji Sheikh Taufik Akel Bagod, to be led by the notable Islamic cleric Alhaji Muhyiddin Ajani Bello. Beginning from Friday, July 9, go reach Saturday, 31st July 2021. Oh yes, this year's Hajj is going to be unforgettable. Visit You Fit Fly office now at number 49, Semakul Building, Iwofe Road, opposite First Bank, off Ada George by Pepperoni, Paracourt. Telephone 090-703-73696. Website www.youfitfly.com. With You Fit Fly, this year's Hajj experience is gonna be blissful and unforgettable.
All right, right, welcome back. It's still today's hustle on your premium news talk and sports radio station, Today 95.1 FM. And before we went on that break, we're talking about the released video on the Punch newspaper. I mean, it's on Punch, it's on The Guardian, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere, of kidnapped ruler of Vikru town here in Rivers State, who was kneeling down and, of course, was reeling out, in quotes, the demands of his abductors. I'll read out those quotes again. I said I'll play it, but for ethical correctness and for the fears of all, I'll just read the quotes. I said, His Majesty Aaron Mila Ikuru wish to state the main cause of my detention or incarceration for the past few weeks. The main issue is that we, the chiefs, are unable to make peace in Andoni amongst the rival youth groups. The youth groups of Andoni are very unhappy with the chiefs, elders, and politicians, and also the inability of the elders to provide employment for youths. The youth are also insisting stoppage of indiscriminate arrest of Andoni youths and the unfortunate killings by government and chiefs of Andoni with a sense of urgency. The chiefs, politicians, and elders should address these matters. Otherwise, there will be killings of chiefs and politicians in Andoni. I mean, that was the threat. And one of the kidnappers came out to actually, corroborate with what the ruler said. But here is the thing. We've been talking about, first, how to press. I mean, we've separated it times without number that it doesn't make sense. We've separated being correct and, of course, having demands from maybe perpetrating crime and things that are capable of ruining public peace and, of course, also putting some panic in the society. But here's the thing. What is the best way to go about agitating for in Nigeria and, of course, in Rivers State? Because it seems like probably some people do not know exactly how best to go about it. Wealth has talked about the fact that it's never right to toe this line, which, of course, we all totally agree. It's never making sense if you decide to be senseless with your activities. But here's the thing. It seems papers are not working. It seems petitions are not making sense. What is the best way to actually tackle issues? Because it's not just here in Rivers State. Like I mentioned, yesterday night, that's on Wednesday night, an Imo traditional ruler and his cabinet chiefs, like I said, is wholesale. I'm not supposed to be laughing, but it's painful, but yet very funny. They picked the monarch and his chiefs while they were coming back from a traditional wedding. They carried both Eze Charles Irebu and his cabinet chiefs. They all kidnapped everybody together. And we're hearing pockets of it here and there. Philemon Kongolo, local government chairman of Okrika, kidnapped. We've seen some kidnapped and released and what have you, and some, yes, they demand money, but it seems like they're beginning to throw a difference and say, okay, it is because this is not working and that is not working. But we're asking, what is the best way to make those demands? What are the better avenues we can explore when it comes to probably putting our thoughts out there and making these political leaders see that the people are not exactly pleased with what is going on in the lower cadre of our society.
Approaches to reducing the relegation of the black man, isn't it? But then in the end of the day, it is the constant demand and the push of the people that gradually gets the global recognition and the government to be on their toes. That's what should happen here, because it's just like what we saw with the NSAS protest. We saw the amount of attention that they were able to get, not just from the government in Nigeria, but all over the world. But then the demand started to die down, because as it stands, nobody has followed up with it.
But those who followed up,
how many of these people go back to their local government and seek that the local government within their vicinity actually deliver the dividend of democracy? Explain to us why you do not have autonomy, since you're saying that it is the government. Explain to us what you do with the little monies that come into your coffers. State government, what is in your budget? What is your campaign? What are you bringing on the table? And what is your plan for the state? All of these things are ways that we can get the government to be more upright and deliver on all of the goodness of democracy to the people. Now, if you say that we should all take up arms,
of course not.
Right?
If you say
we should all take up arms, and in the end of the day, we give ourselves the excuse that we have a right to.
No, it's not
because
an option.
We have resources that the government are using and not giving back to us, or because we have whatever it is that they claim that they have, and in the end of the day, they do not receive benefits from the government or even from the multinationals. So we should take up arms. The country is going to turn into a playground of anarchy.
All right, I would open the phone lines. I was trying to maybe put wealth in the box, but she tried to jump out and still spread her legs. And I'm asking, okay, we've written petitions. We've gone around maybe doing one or two things to make sure they get to hear our voice. We've gone to them, we've written papers and what have you to say, okay, our education system is not working. The schools in this particular part of the state are not working and what have you, you know. We've written to our local government. As a matter of fact, to add it here yesterday, it was day before yesterday that happened. In Ogoni, a young man was killed. Wine is his surname. And the statement was that he had written to the commissioner of police. He had also written to his local government chairman. And nothing actually happened. He was still killed when his life was threatened by one Tupac of a guy. Anyway, so we'll open the phone lines and get to hear from you. 0817-0000951, 0810-9510951. Terror is senseless. It's never an option. But what other avenues can we exploit as a people to make sure that the government gets to listen to our cry? And of course, come in when it matters the most to fix those parts where we feel, okay, they're not doing well. There is no doubt about that. There is no government that is perfect. But at least in the little dividends of democracy, where we're not seeing it work well, how do we actually press forward for our demands? Like I said, terror is never an option. And of course, criminality will always be dealt with by any government. So that's definitely not the option. But what other avenues can we exploit? 0817-0000951, 0810-9510951, 95.1 FM.
Hello. Obina.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm Chima, calling from Port Harcourt.
Chima, let's hear you.
I'm not holding brief for criminal, but in as much as there is a way to demand, there's a very better way to demand for government to respond to the situations and the incidents in government we are witnessing. There is also another way to govern people that is better than what we are having today. You understand? I'm not holding brief for them. You understand? I'm very happy and also optimistic that we are witnessing that a change, that a divisional change from our young ones. You understand? The demands now. People are beginning to open eyes to demand what truly the real governance is. So I think the youth, I'm not holding brief for them. There's a better way for them to be able to demand for government presence. There's also a better way for government to govern us. Let them govern us properly. You understand? Well, I finished from school. I'm not look. I have what I'm doing, but it is not good. You understand? I finished for a very long time, no job.
All right.
So when you look at the whole situation and everything, you understand that look, sometimes these people they might be right.
No.
But there's no understanding in this.
There is no understanding in criminality, and that's why I'm asking for solutions.
See, are we going to understand if the same thing if we're talking just particularly about the Northerners or some Northerners who have indulged in banditry and kidnapping? Are we going to understand? Remember when we were talking about this, and Gumi was saying that they should be given amnesty. Remember the number of persons who said no because it was not necessary or because their demands were not valued.
It's not sensible. But the idea of kidnapping monarchs and giving them a message, it's the avenue I'm not even okay with. You are even going too far. You're talking about maybe bandit. I'm talking even about you kidnapping and say, okay, take this message back. We don't even want that. That is still criminality. But what other avenues can we take? Or what other paths can we ply in the course of trying to get the people who are up there, the echelon of power, to listen to our demands? 95.1 FM.
Yeah, good afternoon. Wisdom.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Honorable Chris. I'm coming from Osaka.
Chris, you're welcome.
Yeah. Let me talk about this agitation here and there and what the youth are agitating. See, you know, when they say when yam started to hot, you start to open your mouth. When you call for protest, you come out to demand what government is supposed to do. They roll out their army. They open their gate. Shoot everybody outside. You remember what happened at Lake? Are you aware?
Yeah,
now,
we know what happened.
Yes, now the youth have risen up and they have taken another dimension, another style. This one now is not coming. Very soon, even governors, very soon, they will be beating them one at
But Chris, you know, this is definitely still not the path to follow. Are there not better ways for us to make these demands, or in quote, put our demands out there for them to see?
Okay, let me ask you now, which other way can you make
That's what I'm asking you. We are talking for development. That's what I'm asking you.
Can you go to National Assembly? Let me ask you, can you go to National Assembly to submit your letter of this thing? Can you go there?
Well, you can write petitions. You can write letters to the National Assembly.
Who will approve it? Petition of where? You can your petition through your local government chairman. They have not even allowed you to deliver it to your local government.
So what do you now do? Do you now take up guns and then kidnap them before they listen to you?
Listen, the era of begging politicians have gone. The era we are now is let us dialogue.
All right, Chris.
All of them will run to Abuja, and we will find them to start Abuja.
Come on, Chris. We've gotten your thoughts. Thank you so much. 95.1 FM.
Hello. Good afternoon, Lady West and Wilson.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Reginald, and I'm calling from Sokoto.
Reginald, you're welcome.
Yes, on the issue you are discussing in the studio, the message has been the message from the Andoni monarch. I think for me, it's an SOS. The government, various governments in this country, the youth, they have given this message. But for me, in as much as I will not support the destruction of properties, government properties, and killing, or support any agitation that has to do with firearms. For me, I will not support it. But as a peaceful agitation, for me, I will support peaceful agitation. But unfortunately, the government we have, various governments we have, they don't listen. If you do peaceful protest, they will not listen. You write letters, they will not listen. So I don't know the area that they will listen. But for me, this is a wake-up call.
All right.
Of the level. That if you go to the southwest, it is the same thing. You go to the north, the people we refer today as it is the same message that they are passing. So governments must do everything possible to ensure employment, because the level of unemployment in the country is too high.
All right, we've gotten your thoughts.
You cannot continue to keep quiet.
All right.
Those of them who will continue for agitation should continue, but let it be peaceful agitation.
Okay. Thank you so much. So that's one solution.
Peaceful agitation.
Peaceful agitation. Maybe that could be a better way.
Do you know how quickly that could go south?
95.1 FM.
Hello, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is the Kimbo, the Radio Mayor.
You're welcome, Radio Mayor.
Yeah, I
maybe you can give us solution as a mayor.
Yes, that's what I want to do right now.
Go ahead.
But the issue is, the solution is, we need to have people. Although I have that fear, even as I'm going to provide the solution, I'm still having the fear. My fear is this. Let me tell you my worry, my fear first. Now, there are various groups, we have seen various groups who are coming up to engender the relationship between the people and the government. I'm talking about peace movement. Now, this movement, so many times we have seen them turn out to become money making avenue. But what we need now is for the people of goodwill to come out and begin to broadcast that bridge between the government and the government and the governed and the people.
But by broker that bridge, what do you mean?
Breaking the bridge is that like we are talking about the monarch, the people who are in the lawmaking arena.
Yeah.
We need to bring them together. Let's discuss and know what we are. They should know what we are feeling. What you are feeling. So many of them are elected. Once they are elected, they begin to just cut the
ties
between the people. So we need to come together and begin to find a means to seeing that whenever you are elected or you the traditional ruler, you are ruling in favor of the people.
All right.
So when once this link is broken, we will continue to have issues like this. Yes, we are not happy about what is happening, but when you make a peaceful move inevitable, you also make a violent move was evitable. So what we need now is not people who will go and govern us and also kill us. We need employment, just as they are saying. We need employment. We need improvement in our infrastructure. So when these things are not done, my brother, we cannot remain to talk like this.
All right.
People will do the other way to make sure they make the people to listen.
Radio Mail, thank you.
They are listening. They are listening.
Okay.
What is happening now? The people are listening. So maybe this is the way they are going to listen for us to come to
this is not a good way. But Radio Mail, thank you so much. We got the first solution. I think that was brilliant enough. 95.1 FM.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Ben James, calling from Shoba.
Ben James, welcome.
Yeah. You know what Marx said in one of his write-ups?
Mark Twain.
He said...
Which Mark?
Which of the Marx?
Zuckerberg or Twain?
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx.
Marx.
Okay.
Yes. He said force is the midwife of any society pregnant with a new one. And that is likely what is going to come up in Nigeria. If our leaders have become hard of hearing, and when leaders become hard of hearing, what you will witness is what is exactly happening now. I don't know whether the hard of hearing came from our military tradition, having passed through several military administrations. So don't be surprised. It has started. They receive restructuring. They receive everything they ought to do to make the society good. So what they will reap is what you are seeing now. It might go on a larger scale if care is not taken. If nothing is done now, it's going around the country. If nothing is done, it's unfortunate. We might not be what it will result in may not be palatable. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your thoughts right there. And if we try to bring in Karl Marx, and nice line, but are we also maybe birthing another issue gradually? While we are trying to make them aware of our demands, and of course, force, like you said, maybe being what will lead to, in quote, the birth of a new dispensation or a better dispensation, are we not also trying to raise up another monster that would affect the people at the end of the 95.1 FM?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Dube, calling from Aba.
Welcome. How is Aba today?
Well, fine.
We heard gunmen were shooting. Can you confirm that one?
There is nothing like gunmen.
Okay.
There's nothing like gunmen. It's just that the CPS people, they start destroying.
But were there shootings today?
It's the police people shooting. There's nothing like gunmen.
Okay, it's the police people that are shooting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they destroy people's cars.
What part of Aba exactly?
CPS, just close to park.
Okay. That's the main park.
Yeah, the main park.
Go ahead.
So there's nothing like gunmen attacking any security assets. It's just the security people are the ones misbehaving.
All right,
go
because
ahead with
of
your
time, just
contribution.
quickly go on with the contribution.
Okay. What I want to say is that, see, these are our elders. They are the ones causing all this problem in this country. If you check, I came back, I live in northern part. I came back in about 2010. You see some, all I call it, police people from Cameroon Barrack. They will put this minibus. They will start shouting, park. If you enter, before you don't see yourself inside police station. You bail yourself. So all these things, government are hearing all these things, but they are not doing anything about it. Although that I didn't like what these boys are doing, but the government are the problem. They are the problem because all this are happening. They are not doing anything about it.
Okay, how can we make them? How do we let them? Maybe what other avenue? Because we don't want to toe the line of force. But what other avenue can we ply to make them understand that we're not happy?
Well, I didn't see any other way because Nigerian government, that they didn't. If you say, okay, let's protest peacefully, they'll shoot people anyhow.
Okay.
So we cannot protest.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts. We would go to the text message portal. Wealth.
All right, this one says, greetings to everyone in the studio. The agitation of the youths of Andoni is a clearing call because the political class and the chiefs of our land have failed us, the masses. No employment, no education, hunger and starvation is ravaging the entire oil-rich land. And if in case a job opportunity surfaces in the community, it will be hijacked by the high and mighty or the principality and powers of the land, while the law-abiding youths will be left aside. He that has ear, let him hear what the youths are asking for, because our leaders only listen to the hard groups sent by Ikeabo Jacob in Tombia community. There's no solution there, finally. You know, you just said that everybody is angry and there's a cause for agitation. But then how do we go about it? That's what we're asking. This one says, greetings, guys. Wisdom, the answer to your question is the reason election is held periodically to either change or retain a government. That means better choices should be made in elections. Is that what you're trying to say, Emifiaga? But we got your message anyway. This one says the only language the government understands is violence. Peaceful protests in Nigeria is a crime. Soon all politicians will taste all these. Things have fallen apart. The center can no longer hold. Has Barry met the demands of the NSAS protesters? And that's coming from Martins in Ada George. This one says, are we spiritually blind? This is among the signs of the last days. We need prayers and repentance. And that's coming from Osuji, JD.
All right.
Okay, this one says, I greet everybody in the house. You ask what are the better ways from the local government area and the states, even in the nation. People have been crying, talking every day. Even took to the streets last year, but government ended up killing them. Let those that cannot do it because it has become much. I don't get. If we can do what Ghana did for things to get. Okay, I think he wants to say Ghana, right? But then I think, Ben, you should send your messages again, because really, this one says, my brother Wisdom and my sister Wealth, good afternoon. You see, before you separate fights, first separate quarrel. For me, before we get it right, government should listen to the cry of the people. Without that, we're going nowhere. And that's coming from Godwin in Oyubo. I'll just quickly take some of the messages we have on WhatsApp, and then if we can take some more calls, I don't know. This one says, I understand what Wealth is saying, but the fact is that the Nigerian leaders are not ready to change. And over the years, the only way to get their attention is through strike and protest. But these days, the strike and protests are not working anymore because they found ways of suppressing the people when they protest. Imagine what happened during the NSAS protests. Instead of the government to focus on solving the issue of the youth, they turned around to fight the protesters. The reps are not helping matters. In as much as I don't support criminality, but expect more unless the government changes. It's just the beginning. This is how it starts in Afghanistan, Libya, and other places. Well, the truth is, if it starts this way, you and I will bear the heat of it, isn't it? Because they would not just be kidnapping or terrorizing people in public offices. You too will become afraid.
At some point, they'll get hungrier and start going for those down there.
So I don't know why we should even give this an encouraging look in the first place. All right, this one message says, good afternoon, Wealth and Wisdom. Just like as the Ogoni man, Wayne wrote to the police that his life is at stake and it was ignored.
His life was threatened.
So also when you write to House of Assembly, Senate will throw it aside. Wisdom, the masses are suffering for God's sake and they're sitting down in their offices and houses enjoying themselves. This movement should be taken to members of Senate, members of House of Assembly, then they will start listening, and that's coming from Stanley in PH. But as I said, this might likely affect you and I who are not even in political offices and all of that. Because really, there's no way you can tame wildfire once it starts, right? You have to put in too much effort, and in the end of the day, it doesn't just consume the area,
the political elites,
where you want it to focus. It's wildfire. It spreads, and it would affect you and I. So really, we shouldn't give an encouraging ear or look to this particular activity, especially when they come out and tell you that they're doing this because they're not employed. I mean, there's a good number of unemployed people. If all of the 100 million plus people who are unemployed in the country decide to take up arms, who is going to live in Nigeria?
All right, so that's where we'll draw the cuttings. Sorry, we can't take any more calls or text messages, but we hope that this would not really be the beginning of more, but we'll find better ways. Like we've gotten some solutions already to explore when trying to drag the government to listen to us, especially when we are distressed. Wealth Wisdom was here. Wisdom Obina is my name, and The program returns same time, same station tomorrow. But for now, I'll be moving over to today's Sports Live.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
What a goal! Hangs it up for Ronaldo. Oh, my shuttle!
Experience the glorious goals rush. The heated verbal jabs and even moments of madness. Experience the sensational swing, strokes and shots, the moments of victory and despair. Experience lights out on a majestic night in Singapore and a whole lot more.
On your premium talk news and sports radio station.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Listen to Sports Attack every weekday from 7:30 a.m. and Today Sports Live after the news update at 3 p.m. Stay tuned on Saturdays and Sundays for a bumper edition of Today Sports Live from 1 to 6 p.m. Experience sports in its entirety on your premium talk news and sports radio station. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
My name is Gianni Infantino, FIFA president. For the best of sports, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Hello, my name is Kanu Wanko, aka Papilo. For the latest and trending sports stories, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. When I reach Bolanda, calling me Odogu. And as I enter the town, I put down for Odogu. And nobody can stop you. And so we they fly past you. Over any obstacle, it be Odogu. Say now they draw the map, you Odogu. You are looking at the champion, Odogu. Why the guess they with the person with the cash, you Odogu. Aje, get kill it, Odogu. Aje, get kill it, Odogu. I love this song. Champion. Yeah, man, Odogwa dem fine boy. Odogwa da boy. Odogwa da cover shoe go jabo koi. Odogwu chite somewhere. Our local convoy. People Odogwa bro beats one day. John Moy. Odogwu on the lockdown. Oburo quarantine. Odogwu never love me.
All right, what a song. I will say no more. Good afternoon to you all out there. Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Today's Sports Live, reaching you from the studios of your premium news talk and sports radio station. Today, 95.1 FM right here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. And Mecca is my name, the Odogu one of sports. I'm not in the building. The guys are here and we'll have a full house, I tell you. We'll have our usual visitors. They come once in a while. The guys from Weybros, you hear from them in a jiffy. But Victor Oriahe, your favorite Millennium sports presenter, is right there in the building. Victor, good afternoon to you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Emeka. Good afternoon to you, to everyone listening. Good afternoon. It's always great to be here. And we had a beautiful Champions League evening yesterday, coupled with I think it's a great way for the NWFL Premiership season, the main season, to end to end in such a way that it did. But it's great to be here to talk about everything that's happening. Of course, the National Sports Festival.
With its own issues and negative stories, not interesting at all. Queen Chikeze is also in the building this afternoon. Queen, good afternoon to you and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Odogu one of sports. Good afternoon to all of you out there listening to us. It's a privilege to be here to talk to you on I'm happy. Yesterday, Rivers United, Rivers Angels, they did great. I'm proud of them.
All right, they did great. It's okay. All right, we'll come to that in a jiffy. But like I told you, we have members of Weybros FC. Recall Weybros, winners of the maiden edition of the Today FM Under 20 Soccer Fiesta. Yes, they are the defending champions. Hopefully, we'll have the second edition later this year. But Weybros are getting ready for the Nationwide League 1 Division 2 playoffs in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, and they are here to talk to us about that. The chairman of the side, the founder, the CEO, he's in the building. Williams Adedoyin. Let's meet you. Good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon, the Odogu one of sports. Not so good afternoon, Rivers people. It's nice coming here again, and it's nice talking football.
All right, we have the secretary of the club. I have forgotten his name, I won't lie. So he will tell us his name now.
All right, Prince Yon Halim. It's wonderful to be here once again to talk about Wilbros Football Club.
And I know you will be waiting to hear from this next person from the club, the media officer of the side. Bumais is one of his names. He will tell us the other. And of course, each time he comes here, he's always a blast. The man is a grammarian, to say the least.
Good afternoon. My name is Buma Waribo. My gratitude for your reception is inestimable.
It's okay. I told you, this is just the beginning. You'll hear more from him in the course of the show. We're talking about the National Sports Festival. Has it been cancelled or is it still going ahead? We have the latest coming in from Benin. Rivers Angels got the better of our rivals Bayelsa Queens yesterday in an ill-tempered encounter that had everything as the NWFL Premiership season came to an end abruptly. Now in the Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain, the one you love to call PSG, they had their pound of flesh against holders Bayern Munich, who beat them in the final last season. Can they complete the job eliminating the Germans at the quarterfinal stage? That's a big question. Even as Chelsea bounce back to winning ways by trashing Porto yesterday away from home. Are they already through to the semi-finals? We'd love to hear from you as well, even as we look ahead to what will be happening later tonight in the Poor Man's Champions League. That's the Europa League, as a matter of fact. Some people call it Inter-House Sports. I'm not one of those people that call it that. But Arsenal and Man United are both in action in the Europa League later tonight. And like you know, the show is very interactive. You have to be part of the discussion by sending us messages via text or WhatsApp to 070-1933-9962. That's 070-1933-9962. On Twitter, we are TodayFM951 at TodayFM951. Tweet at me at Dana Emeka. Victor is here. His handle is at Victor Oriahe. Yes, at Victor Oriahe. And later I'll be throwing the phone lines wide open for you to have your say. Don't go anywhere. The show will be right back after this timeout.
Feel the magic in the air. I love it in my all air. Ale, feel the magic in the air. I love it in my all air. Ale. Feel the magic in the air.
Magic system, Red One, Shawty.
All right, let's start the show this afternoon from the National Sports Festival, the 20th edition of it, going down there in Benin, the Edo State capital, where the federal government says activities at the ongoing National Sports Festival in Edo State will continue as planned. This is against the earlier announcement by the local organizing committee that the festival will end abruptly 12 noon today over lack of funds. Now, the federal government made its position known in a statement signed by Ramon Balogun, Assistant Director of Press, Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, this morning. The statement reads, and I quote, it says, the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has clarified that the 20th National Sports Festival, Edo 2020, is going on as planned with competitions going on as scheduled. The ministry and the main organizing committee for the festival are unaware of any plans or threats by the Edo State government to shut down the sports festival, as there has been no official meeting or communication that relates such information. The Honorable Minister, Permanent Secretary and Directors are on ground in Benin City where the festival is holding, and it is expected that the Edo State government would formally invite the ministry for a meeting should any urgency exist around the National Sports Festival, or communicate officially with the main organizing committee for the festival. Now, that the ministry has no such communication. For the records, the Edo State government, due to the cost implications of postponements occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, requested financial assistance from the federal government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. The ministry has since been at work to secure the financial assistance, which it believes is being processed. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development and Edo State government are determined to deliver a successful National Sports Festival. End of the statement right there. Earlier, the coordinator of media and publicity, National Sports Festival, Ebohiana Musa, in a statement yesterday night, said a decision to end the competition was taken at the emergency meeting of the local organizing committee headed by Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu. He said, and I quote, local organizing committee Edo 2020 regrets to announce that it will end the games abruptly tomorrow, Thursday, April 8, 2021, for lack of funds. Now, rising from an emergency meeting this evening, the LOC says it has to take this hard decision, due to lack of funds, having expended its reserves to kickstart the games. Regrettably, the FG is yet to redeem its pledge to support us as the host state financially for the cost of postponements. So we are left with no option but to end the games at noon tomorrow. That tomorrow is actually today. End of a quote right there. Now, the development is coming despite the postponement of the festival on several locations. No fewer than 8,000 athletes from different states of the Federation are participating in the festival. Edo State had raised the alarm over the federal government's failure to provide funds 24 hours to the commencement of the festival. Well, Victor, let me start with you. I don't know what you make of this development. The news came in late last night and broke this morning, and it was everywhere. I mean, there was this fear that the sports festival will not even hold again, starting from by 12 noon today, from the letter they sent out.
Yeah, I mean, I for one didn't know who to believe or what to expect anymore, because we had that one coming in from the local organizing committee of the National Sports Festival yesterday, saying the festival is ending abruptly.
Yeah, by 12 today, if they don't get
because
funds,
they didn't get funds. Now, I don't know what may have happened during the hours of when, I think I saw that news by 9 to 10 p.m. thereabout. Now, between the hours of 10 p.m. to 12 noon today, I don't know what happened.
The MOC and the Ministry of Sports we here met this morning and came out with another statement.
Well, we're waiting to see. We'll be waiting to see if the LOC would actually give a count, because the LOC are yet to give a statement affirming what the ministry has said.
Exactly.
So right now, it feels like these two parties are having two different beliefs. The LOC says the sports festival is not going to go on, but I mean, it's already past 12 o'clock and the sports festival is still on.
It's still on,
the sports ministry is saying, no, nothing is happening, nothing of such is happening.
The festival will go on.
I want to see, I want the LOC to give a statement
to
about
corroborate
this.
the statement of the
so we know that, yes, okay, it's for sure that the sports festival is going on, but Emeka, this is so shameful. I mean, every single time we have a sports festival, we have these issues. I remember the last sports festival in Abuja, there were so many issues surrounding the sports festival. Before that, we had not had the sports festival for over 6 years.
Exactly. So
6 years.
2012 was the last time before 2018.
You begin to ask yourself, we have the time to prepare for these festivals. Why is it that whenever it eventually holds, when it happens, we still get these issues? I remember a time, sometime back, the president of the Nigeria Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, was talking about how in preparing for the Olympics, he said 2 days to the Olympics, Nigeria will still have problems. Even if they postpone the Olympics to 2022, we will still have problems by 2022. And I tell you, it's so clear, because the sports festival has been postponed 3 times.
No, 5 times actually. No, it's actually
5 times you postpone the first festival. You expect that, I mean, if you're not able to get it the first time, you get it the second, the third, not 5, the 5th time, and we're still not getting it right. It's a really shameful state for the country in general.
All right. Boma, you've been following this story as well. You are a sports person too, or perhaps better still, a journalist. And while off record, you did talk about this. Are you surprised the federal government have yet to fulfill their own part of the bargain? They did promise the organizers, the state government, the host, funding. I mean, they promised to assist them with funding when they cried out. But until the game started, 1 week into the games, they are yet to release the funds. And when are they going to release the funds? These guys are becoming unhappy with the situation.
Well, I'll take it from a twin-pronged stand. Number one, I'll speak, let me be the devil's advocate. Now, promise, assistance, is it a right or a privilege? Is one question.
No, but they already said this, we cannot host without support, financial support, and you promised to give them that support. Now they are running out of cash.
No. See, it's just like, I'll take you to the Bible. The Bible says a builder does not go to the site without first counting the cost. Why should you start a festival that you're not fully prepared for?
Okay.
It's a leadership problem. You want me to blame?
So they shouldn't have started in the first place.
Why? For what?
Yes. They should have waited for that support to come before they are ready
the support come, all T's must be crossed. And can you start a flight without being sure of the plane? Maybe that's why we have plane crash more in this part of the world. How can you start a competition of this magnitude? Do you know the reputational implication of all of what is dramatizing? So I will give most of the blame to the LOC, because you cannot tell me that you're beginning a competition of this magnitude and you don't have your T's and your I's crossed beyond federal government. Nations are trying to see how to, be self-sustaining and all of those beyond the federal government. What about the multinational? What about organizations? What about well-meaning individuals? When LOC is charged with the responsibility of organizing the competition, it is expected that you should bring your wherewithal to the table. You should be initiative. You should be, creative on how to fledge on, irrespective of one or two, shortcomings that may come your way. And you get to the middle of the competition and you say the competition will not continue. That's the height of parasitic construct.
Okay, but the good news is that as at 12 noon today, the competition continued. After the ministry brought their own statement, they said the competition will go ahead. But from what I'm gathering, the Edo State, as Edo State government, of course, the deputy governor is even the local organizing committee chairman. We hear that they are insisting that until they get those monies, at latest tomorrow, that they will not continue.
It's even more repugnant to think that he is having. I can't imagine this happening in River State. In all sincerity, the power of sports in Africa will make sure he executes it to the latter.
Sure, that's true. I mean, Governor Wike will not condescend so low
to even think
ask
that
for government to come and assist him.
For crying out loud,
we have seen River State hosted the African Wrestling Championship, the Badminton Championship.
That's not the same with hosting a national festival. It's not the same. The logistics you need to put in place is not not the same as hosting one sport. You're having different sports and different athletes, thousands of them coming from different states. So it doesn't just take you can't dedicate your budget, your state budget, because you want to do one national sport in a pandemic.
But you know the economic implication of driving that sports festival in your state.
No, that's where the blame comes in.
To the states.
I think first they try to forcefully host this festival, so their own reputation as a state will not be damaged. Ordinarily, this festival should have been cancelled. Sports stakeholders, journalists, if you even bring every one of us here, including Emeka on this side, they would have told you the same thing before the festival started, that we should let this thing go. We have tried. It's not going to work, coupled with our new reality. But decided to go ahead with it.
So they should live with the reality of going ahead with it.
Now, it's beginning to have an effect on the image of the state, the festival itself, and the country at large.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, with the threat of cancelling the tournament at midway stage.
For a state that is touted to be a Niger Delta state. You know the implication of being a Niger Delta state economically.
From what Wisdom said, that's where I blame the federal government. Now, after the whole postponement and the pandemic problem, and these states have seen it that they cannot be able to host this. So why give them the hope? You should have been in synergy. So, okay, let us leave it till next year. Perhaps then we'll do this thing. But no, you told them, you gave them your word. It's just like a father telling a son, oh, I will give you this thing tomorrow morning. And then your son has
they have been able to fulfill
if my father has an antecedent of failure, I will not believe him.
Really?
Until I see
Really?
it.
Will you believe that your father have the antecedent of